Have you ever wondered what true strength really looks like? It's not the loudest voice in the room or the toughest exterior. Real strength is quiet. It's the ability to endure hardship without losing yourself. It's the courage to rise after every fall, to keep going when no one is watching, and to stand firm in the face of life's storms. Some days you might feel like you're barely holding on, just surviving. But even in those moments, you're showing resilience. Strength isn't about being fearless or never struggling. It's about persistence, discipline, and the ability to find balance amidst the chaos. As the Stoics taught, true power comes from within, not from what others can see. In today's video, we'll explore 7 signs of inner strength, qualities that define truly strong individuals. These are not grand gestures, but subtle, life-changing skills that shape your character and guide you toward inner peace. If this message resonates with you, share it with someone who needs a reminder of their own quiet power. And now, let's begin. 1. Emotional control. Picture this. You've spent weeks preparing for an important project. Everything seems to be on track, and then, unexpectedly, something goes wrong. Or perhaps someone you trust criticizes you unfairly. How would you react? Most people let emotions take over. Frustration, anger, maybe even despair. It's natural, isn't it? But acting in the heat of the moment often leads to regret. Let me tell you about a former boss of mine, a man who embodied emotional control. I watched him navigate moments of intense pressure with an unshakable calm. When a major project collapsed unexpectedly, chaos took over. Some blamed circumstances, others blamed each other. But he remained composed. He didn't deny the difficulty of the situation. He simply refused to be ruled by it. Instead of reacting, he asked questions, sought solutions, and guided the team with clarity. He still felt the stress, but he didn't let it dictate his actions. This is true strength, not the absence of emotion, but mastery over it. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Emotional control is the ability to focus on what you can change while letting go of what you can't. It is the calm within the storm, the clarity that turns chaos into wisdom. Think about it. How many times have you spoken in anger and later wished you could take it back? How many choices, made in frustration, only made things worse? Emotions are powerful, but when unchecked, they lead us astray. The Stoics understood this deeply. Seneca once wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." True freedom comes from guiding your emotions with reason, not being enslaved by them. Mastering emotional control doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. It means training yourself to respond rather than react. When frustration rises, pause. Take a breath. Give yourself space to think. That brief moment of restraint is powerful. It shifts control back into your hands. Then, ask yourself a simple but profound question. Is this within my control? If the answer is no, let it go. If yes, focus on solutions rather than feeding the emotion. Reflection is another key. At the end of each day, take a moment to examine your emotional responses. What triggered them? How could you have handled them better? This simple practice builds awareness and resilience over time. Perspective is equally important. When faced with a challenge, ask yourself, will this matter a year from now? Most of what feels overwhelming in the moment will fade into insignificance with time. Shifting your perspective reduces the emotional weight of temporary setbacks. Emotional control is not about becoming cold or indifferent. It's about understanding your emotions, choosing your response, and staying steady in the face of uncertainty. It's a discipline, a lifelong practice, one that turns life's difficulties into opportunities for growth. True strength isn't about never feeling anger, frustration, or fear. It's about mastering these emotions rather than being mastered by them. 2. Taking responsibility. True strength reveals itself in the moments when you take full responsibility for your actions. Imagine this. You've promised a colleague that you'll complete part of a report by the weekend, but as the days slip by, caught up in other pressing tasks, you miss the deadline. What do? Many people, when faced with failure, instinctively look for an excuse, blaming a heavy workload, unexpected circumstances, or even someone else. It's a natural defense, but it's also a trap. The truly strong person does something different. They acknowledge their mistake without hesitation, own it completely, and make it right. At first glance, this may seem like a small act, but in reality, it speaks volumes about one's character. Responsibility isn't about being perfect or never making mistakes. It's about how you respond when you do. Seneca wisely noted, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." Mistakes mark the end of one attempt and the start of learning. What defines you is whether you choose to grow from them or hide behind excuses. Owning your failures requires courage. Admitting when you're wrong isn't easy, especially in a world that often rewards appearances over integrity. But perfection is an illusion. We all stumble. True strength comes from facing those flaws with honesty and making amends rather than running from them. I once worked with a leader who embodied this principle. She was managing a major project when an oversight on her part caused a significant delay. She could have blamed the team. She could have pointed to circumstances beyond her control. Instead, she stood before us, acknowledged her mistake, and presented a plan to fix it. That moment didn't make her look weak. It made her respected. Because in taking responsibility, she demonstrated integrity, accountability, and leadership. When you take responsibility, you reclaim power over your life. You are no longer at the mercy of external events. You become the author of your own story. Each mistake becomes a lesson, a stepping stone to wisdom. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus taught, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Strength lies in choosing to act rather than be acted upon, in shaping your future with deliberate intention rather than drifting with the tides of circumstance. So how can we practice responsibility in daily life? Start small. If you forget to return a friend's call, don't justify it. Apologize sincerely and make amends. When faced with criticism, resist the impulse to defend yourself immediately. Instead, pause. Is there truth in what's being said? If so, embrace it, learn from it, and act on it. And remember, responsibility isn't just about admitting mistakes. It's also about owning your successes. When your actions lead to something good, acknowledge that too. The balance between humility and confidence keeps you grounded, free from both self-doubt and arrogance. Life will give you endless opportunities to choose between blame and accountability. The easier path is to shift responsibility elsewhere. The stronger path, the Stoic path, is to accept reality, no matter how uncomfortable, and use it as a catalyst for growth. Taking responsibility doesn't just make you a better colleague, friend, or partner. It makes you a better version of yourself. It builds resilience, fosters trust, and creates a life of integrity and purpose. In a world that often avoids accountability, those who embrace it shine. Word by word, action by action, responsibility is the foundation upon which greatness is built. And it is through this foundation that you stand tall, no matter what life throws your way. 3. Facing fear. Fear is a shadow that follows us all. It whispers doubts, magnifies worst-case scenarios, and urges us to retreat. Yet the strongest among us do not run from fear. They turn toward it, meet its gaze, and walk through it. They see fear not as an enemy, but as a teacher, a doorway to growth and transformation. Imagine this. You're given an opportunity to speak in front of a crowd. Your mind races. What if I embarrass myself? What if I forget my words? Fear grips you, tempting you to decline. But instead, you take a deep breath and accept. In that moment, you've made a choice, not for comfort, but for growth. You've decided that the possibility of failure is worth the opportunity to stretch beyond your current limits. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, once said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Fear is not in the event itself, but in our perception of it. We suffer not because of reality, but because of the stories we tell ourselves about what might happen. Think about this. You have an exam, an interview, or a difficult conversation ahead. Fear tries to stop you by playing every possible failure on repeat. But a strong person recognizes this voice for what it is, an illusion. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to act in spite of it. Even in small moments, fear tries to control us. You hesitate to share your opinion in a meeting, fearing judgment, but you speak up anyway. You want to try a new hobby, but fear tells you you'll fail. You do it anyway. These are victories, however small. Each time you step forward despite fear, you build strength. The Stoics believed in preparing for challenges before they arrived. Seneca advised, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Anticipate difficulties, but do not let them paralyze you. Instead, see them as training grounds for resilience." So how do we confront fear? Start small. When anxiety grips you, slow your breath. Calm the storm within before facing the world outside. Break daunting tasks into manageable steps. What once seemed impossible suddenly becomes achievable. Remind yourself that discomfort is temporary, but growth is permanent. Facing fear is not about eliminating it. It's about refusing to let it dictate your life. Each time you stand your ground, you become a little braver. You start to see fear for what it truly is, a mirage, a mental construct that loses its power the moment you challenge it. Life will always bring challenges, but fear does not have to be your master. Instead, let it be a guide, a signpost pointing you toward the very things that will make you stronger. As Epictetus said, difficulties are things that show a person what they are. So step forward, speak when your voice shakes, try even when failure is possible, because on the other side of fear lies transformation, a stronger, wiser, more resilient version of you. In every fearful moment, there is an invitation to rise. The choice is yours. 4. Embracing solitude. There is a quiet kind of strength in solitude, one that is often misunderstood. In a world that glorifies constant connection and endless distractions, being alone is sometimes seen as a weakness, a sign of isolation. But solitude, when embraced, is a powerful ally. It forces you to confront yourself, to reflect, and ultimately, to grow. Imagine an evening with no buzzing notifications, no voices pulling you in different directions, just you, alone with your thoughts. At first, the silence might feel uncomfortable, even unsettling. But as you sit with it, the stillness transforms. It becomes a mirror, revealing truths about yourself that the noise of daily life so often drowns out. This is the power of solitude. It strips away external influences and helps you understand who you truly are. Epictetus once said, He who is not satisfied with the little is satisfied with nothing. Solitude teaches you to be content with yourself, to find fulfillment from within rather than seeking it in validation from others. It is in these quiet moments that you build self-reliance, the kind of resilience that no one can take away. Solitude is not loneliness. Loneliness is a longing for connection. Solitude is a choice. It is the decision to step away from the chaos, to retreat, not as an escape, but as an act of self-nourishment. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply, writing, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." In solitude, you create space to listen to yourself, to examine your values, and to realign your actions with what truly matters. It is a sacred pause, a chance to recalibrate. Yet solitude is not always easy. It takes courage to sit with your thoughts, to face your doubts and fears without the distractions of the outside world. But this process is transformative. In solitude, you learn to master your emotions, to soothe your anxieties, and to celebrate your victories without the need for external applause. More than that, solitude sharpens your sense of purpose. When you remove the expectations of others, you gain clarity about what truly drives you. You stop living to meet society's demands and start living in alignment with your own values. This is where authenticity is forged, where true fulfillment begins. In today's fast-paced world, solitude is often treated as a luxury, but for the Stoics, it was a necessity. They understood that time alone wasn't about withdrawing from life. It was about preparing for it. When you take the time to strengthen your inner world, you become better equipped to handle challenges, build deeper relationships, and move through life with unwavering purpose. To embrace solitude is to embrace yourself. It is a reminder that you are enough, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. In stillness, there is peace. In peace, there is clarity. And in clarity, there is power. The kind of power that allows you to stand firm in life's storms with quiet confidence. Choose to embrace it. 5. Staying positive in adversity. I have a younger sister who possesses an incredible resilience. No matter what life throws at her, she meets it with a steady smile and an unshakable sense of optimism. She doesn't deny her struggles or pretend that everything is perfect. Instead, she chooses to see challenges as opportunities. And because of this, people are drawn to her. Her outlook inspires others to search for the silver linings in their own lives. Watching her, I often think, this is what true strength looks like. Staying positive in adversity is not about ignoring pain or pretending hardship doesn't exist. It is about choosing where to place your focus, on what you can learn, what you can change, and what remains good even in difficult times. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is one of the greatest lessons of Stoicism. Perspective is everything. Adversity is inevitable. Life will test you, disrupt your plans, and challenge even the strongest among us. But within these struggles, we discover who we truly are. When you maintain a positive outlook, you shift the narrative. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstance and instead become the author of your response. This doesn't erase difficulty, but it transforms how you engage with it. One of the most powerful tools for maintaining positivity is gratitude. Gratitude doesn't mean ignoring hardship. It means recognizing that even in suffering, something good still exists. It could be the support of a loved one, the lessons gained from failure, or simply the fact that you have endured another day. As the Stoics understood, gratitude is not about blind optimism. It is about balance, seeing both struggle and strength at once. Another key to staying positive in adversity is resilience, the ability to adapt and recover. Resilience grows each time you choose to rise after a setback. It reminds you that adversity is temporary, a passing storm that cannot define you unless you let it. Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Hardship refines us, shaping us into something stronger, wiser, and more capable. Equally important is staying present. Too often we dwell on the past or fear what the future holds. But the Stoics teach us to anchor ourselves in the now. Epictetus advised, "Do not seek for things to happen as you wish, but wish for things to happen as they do, and you will have peace." When you embrace the present moment, you free yourself from the weight of regret and the anxiety of the unknown. Cultivating this mindset takes practice. It means reframing negative thoughts, focusing on solutions instead of problems, and surrounding yourself with people who uplift rather than drain you. It means acknowledging emotions without letting them dictate your actions. Sadness, frustration, and fear are natural, but they do not have to control you. In the face of adversity, positivity is a choice, a deliberate act of courage and strength. It does not mean pretending that life is easy. It means recognizing that even when life is hard, there is still light to be found. And with that light, you keep moving forward, one step at a time. So when challenges come, as they inevitably will, remember this: the storm will pass, but the strength and wisdom you gain will remain. Hold on to that truth, and let it guide you through whatever lies ahead. 6. Setting boundaries. True strength is knowing when to say no. In a world that constantly demands your time and energy, boundaries are not selfish, they are essential. They protect your well-being, allowing you to focus on what truly matters. The Stoics understood this well. Epictetus taught, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." Boundaries reflect self-awareness. They are not about shutting people out, but about honoring your limits so you can give your best where it counts. Some fear that setting boundaries will disappoint others, but the truth is, you cannot pour from an empty cup. When you overextend yourself, you end up drained, resentful, and unable to fully show up for those who matter most. Saying no is not rejection. It is self-respect. I once had a friend who struggled with this. She said yes to everything, afraid of letting people down. Over time, exhaustion took its toll. But when she finally set clear boundaries, declining unnecessary obligations, prioritizing personal time, she felt more in control, and her relationships improved. Boundaries don't push people away. They teach them how to respect you. They bring clarity, helping you focus on what aligns with your values. Marcus Aurelius advised, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." The same applies to commitments. If it does not serve you, let it go. Not everyone will welcome your boundaries, but those who truly respect you will honor them. Setting limits isn't about building walls. It's about creating space for a life of balance, peace, and purpose. This is true strength. 7. Lifting others up. True strength isn't just about overcoming your own challenges. It's about using that strength to uplift others. A truly strong person doesn't compete to tear others down. They collaborate to build them up. They understand that helping someone else shine doesn't dim their own light. It makes the world brighter for everyone. Think of a time when someone believed in you, even when you doubted yourself. Maybe it was a teacher who encouraged you, a friend who reminded you of your worth, or a mentor who pushed you to aim higher. Their belief became the spark you needed to persevere. This is the power of lifting others. Small acts of support create a ripple effect of strength that extends far beyond a single moment. The Stoics recognized the interconnectedness of humanity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What brings no benefit to the hive brings none to the bee." When you help others grow, you enrich not just their life, but also your own. A community built on mutual support is stronger, more resilient, and capable of withstanding challenges that no individual could face alone. Lifting others doesn't require grand gestures. Sometimes it's as simple as listening without judgment, offering encouragement, or sharing knowledge freely. True strength lies in setting aside ego and seeing potential in others, even when they can't see it themselves. Epictetus wisely said, "Be helpful to those who are vulnerable, for you may one day find yourself in need of assistance." Strong individuals don't seek constant recognition. They find fulfillment in the success of those they've supported. As Seneca reminded us, you must live for your neighbor if you would live for yourself. In lifting others, you don't just help them rise, you rise with them. Strength is not something you inherit. It is something you cultivate moment by moment through the choices you make. True resilience comes from mastering emotions, taking responsibility, facing fears, embracing solitude, staying positive in adversity, setting boundaries and lifting others. These are not just habits, they are the foundation of a meaningful and powerful life. The Stoics remind us that strength is always within our control. Every challenge is an opportunity to grow, every setback a lesson, and every act of kindness a way to strengthen both yourself and those around you. Life will test you, but how you respond defines your path. So, take these lessons to heart. Practice them in small ways, every day. When difficulties arise, remind yourself that you are stronger than your struggles. Now, I'd love to hear from you. How do you practice strength in your daily life? Share your thoughts in the comments. If this resonated with you, like, subscribe, and join us for more insights. Stay strong, stay mindful, and keep moving forward. See you in the next video.